is the BK Lounge Podcast. Welcome to laughs, love, and crazy debates by your two favorite hosts, Bert and Kenny. Join us in talks about military life, relationships, golf life, and so much more. Your new favorite place to come hang out on Sundays. Introducing the BK Lounge Podcast, a Bert's Beat Studios production. And now your hosts, Bert and Kenny.
What is up, my guy?
Hello.
What is up, my guy?
Who's your guy? Me?
Yeah, you're my...
Brother.
Yeah, I don't want to say guy. Because then people will be like, Kenny's a boy.
No. No boy.
Welcome in, everybody.
Welcome back.
Welcome in.
Did you miss me?
Did you miss us?
They don't do that.
Anywho, I almost said Sunday because we used to do it on Sundays and somebody just said, oops, Sunday. No, the audio in that needs to be corrected. It is Monday, Season 2, Episode 2, BK Lounge Pod.
Pairs. 2 and 2.
Oh, 2-2.
2-2.
2-2.
Equals pair.
Pear.
P-A-I-R.
P-E-A-R.
What does that mean?
Pear.
That means the fruit. Welcome back.
Welcome in. Hope you all had a great weekend and a great week last week. For those of you who don't know, we are on Season 2, Mondays, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, every other Monday, every 2 weeks from now.
I'm going to put my mom on blast. She said that she didn't listen to Episode 1 of Season 2.
Yeah.
Rude.
Not sure what that was about. Because she was a big fan when we first started. And she was always listening, making your dad listen. And now it's just like, oh no, I haven't gotten to it. It's been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Over 2 weeks.
Yeah. Rude. But anyways, outside of my mother, I hope you all listened. And we're excited to be back.
We're back in action. And if you guys missed Episode 1, you can go back and listen to it on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Music. Just search the BK Lounge Pod. Or head to our website, thebkloungepod.com, to find it all.
It's all there.
It's all there.
It's all there. You do it. It's your turn. Give them the recap.
What do you mean it's my turn?
I did the work. I wrote it down.
So last episode, 2 weeks ago, first episode back, Season 2, we kind of touched upon a very large amount of information on what's been going on.
It was quite overwhelming.
It was. We talked about a lot. Some things definitely could have gone more in depth in, but we kind of just wanted to fill y'all in quick of we moved, Kenny's parents moved down, my parents moved down, her sister and her family moved down. We moved into a new house, like I just said. We got engaged. We got a new truck. We spent a lot of time busy with family stuff and getting people settled and not having a ton of time to ourselves and do the things that we normally would, over the summertime. So we had a lot going on since Season 1 abruptly ended to Season 2 rolling out in the new year.
Yeah. No, it was very overwhelming. Honestly, the whole getting back into it is probably the hardest part because we haven't created a routine yet to get back into the podcast,
right.
Creating a different schedule than normal. We're trying to find the happy medium.
Yeah, and on top of that, our audio's off. It says every Sunday.
Yeah.
And I got to get the guy to do it again or dub it over.
Yeah. We just have some tweaks. We're not new here, but we're acting it.
Yeah.
We started our whole intro with
no music. We were jamming
music.
out to it in the headphones, and then Kenny brought it up on her phone and was like, there's no music with 2.5 minutes remaining of our countdown.
Yeah.
So apologies for that, for us to switch some settings over. Like she said, not in a routine yet for the old pod.
But we're back. We are so back. We're back.
Like we never left. What's that from?
I don't know. I see it on TikTok sometimes, but I think it's so funny. We're back. We're back. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Whatever. But we are back. But today, this week, this pod, we're going to kind of elaborate on the chaos of last episode. Not really go back into detail, but kind of go into...
Bring it full circle.
Bring it full circle. We're rounding it out because we kind of ended it and I was like, that felt a little bit scatterbrained. It kind of felt like just a giant whizzing ball in my head of just like, I don't think we talked about a lot, but we talked about a lot.
Right. It was kind of just like spewing information with little to no background or depth to some of it. Mm-hmm. Just quickly going through, getting everybody updated on...
It was like word vomit. And it's just like, there was no catch up.
It's like kind of like when you see a friend that you haven't seen in a while and all you're talking about is everything that's happened since you saw him last.
Yeah, exactly. But no, we're gonna talk about how that chaos reflects I wouldn't say chaos, but all of the changes and
the busyness. The
busyness of this past 8 months since we pretty much last came on here and talked on the podcast. But we have had a lot of changes. There are things that we're actively changing. There's things that we're actively working on. And in between last podcast and now, we kind of like sat down and we were like, what are we doing? Because we're talking about it, we're thinking about it, we're in it. But sometimes it's hard to like hold on to and be like, wow, there is a lot that's different.
Absolutely.
And there's things that we still want to like change and make better and be better about. But sometimes just taking those steps in that direction are the hardest part. So we're gonna get into that.
We're getting into it.
Why do you look scared?
No, I'm just saying like it's a lot.
Well, it's not a lot.
I'm saying like what we covered last episode in the sense of the sheer amount of information and how we are bringing it full circle is a lot in a sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I agree. We are kind of, the more I think about it, we have changed a lot. I mean, even our appearance, I watched back our last, not this season 1 or season 2, episode 1, but I watched back our last
episode we did last season.
Yeah.
Yep.
We have physically changed.
We have physically changed.
We have very much physically changed. If you look back and you look at our pictures and you looked at kind of how we've adjusted, we have completely kind of like changed our lives in terms of a little bit healthier, being happy instead of opposite. We gained a lot of new relationship weight and kind of like...
And like my biggest thing when I came down here was like I was instantly already eating better than when I lived alone in Vermont. Mm-hmm. But then we just became like more aware of it.
Yeah.
And what it was kind of obviously making us feel and like the mood swings that came with it, like, and just like the sheer amounts of not necessarily garbage. There were days we were eating garbage, but just like for me was the sheer amount that I was eating.
Yeah. Yeah. We were over consuming.
Right.
And like it wasn't necessarily bad, but we weren't being very mindful of it. It's like we were doing that of like good, decent food, but we weren't doing the other side of it. We weren't exercising. We weren't being mindful of our consumption. Like,
so I would literally just eat until I was uncomfortable and be like, all right, well, I guess I'm full now.
Yeah. But no, we have changed a lot physically.
I mean, collectively, we've lost over 50 pounds.
Yeah.
That's since what? Middle October? Beginning of October?
Yeah, September. The past 4 months, I've lost almost 25 pounds and you've lost almost 30.
Yeah.
So we were trying to be better. We were trying to be mindful. And the way that we both look at it is, it's not that we were unhealthy or that we were, we just had bad habits. And we did a lot of stuff just based off of convenience and being bored.
Yeah.
And so what that did was it kind of like triggered us into just creating more bad habits and like patterns. And we were like, we both got to the point where we're like, I think it's time we
like do something.
See a different avenue of being better.
And like my thing is like I've never really paid attention to like my like physical look, in the sense of like I knew I was a little bit thicker, if you will, or had some extra pounds.
Right.
But when I was going through like my medical stuff when I got down here, and like as of September, I went to my brain doctor, and I was like, listen, I know I've got I've had spouts of low testosterone. Like, I'm just coming to you because I need more energy. And like I always blamed it on my low testosterone and my pituitary issue. And she's like, your levels are technically in a low normal, so your insurance isn't going to cover it. And then on top of that, if you want to have kids, I wouldn't recommend getting back on testosterone. And she was very blunt. She's like, well, per the book, you are obese, so like if you could lose weight, you're going to feel better. And I'm like, first off, I came to you because I didn't have energy. So like, how am I supposed to get there? And also, I've never really heard like you are obese. And granted,
Yeah.
it's not like I was morbidly obese and bedridden by any means, but and the measurements on that are all wild and stuff. But it was just kind of like a what the fuck moment of like, what am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
And I always again chalked it up to like, well, I'm doing better than I was, so like that should be good enough. Like, I'm happy, like whatever.
Yeah.
But like you said, we weren't really necessarily happy in the way we were feeling.
Right.
So like it was like a what do we do now kind of thing.
Yeah. And like I've always been very active, and like it's not even just about being active. It's like we are now at different ages of something that like we're approaching a different point in our lives where like our bodies are changing, our energy is changing, our metabolism is changing. And that was something where I'm like, well, I just feel terrible and I'm working so much, and the last thing that I want to do is go spend an hour to an hour and a half in a gym or going for a run or stuff that like made me feel better. But like once you stop doing it, it's really hard to get like back on the horse on it. But I mean, in hindsight, it's not even about our weight that we've been focusing on, but it's more or less of like our lifestyle. But obviously we labeled this podcast with, making a team, because I mean, in our relationship or anybody's relationship is you guys are just a team. You're a couple, you're
Right.
a pair, you're two things that make one. And so for like us is I can't imagine like if I had my mind set on something for you to like not support it.
Right. And yeah. And I mean, like, don't get me wrong, sometimes, people have their differing opinions or thoughts, but at the end of the day, like, we're here to support each other in what we want and what our drives are.
Right. And also like being a team is you also are like looking out for each other.
Right.
Is like when it comes to different things, different aspects of like our life, is like you said, is you wanted to feel a different way. There was health things, there was even just like mental stuff.
Absolutely.
It's just like if you're already in a place where you're not comfortable, pushing yourself outside of that is like even harder at times, and being like, this will make you feel better and I'm here to help you, but I'm also here to like give you the healthy companion push of being like, let's do it together.
Right. Yeah, and again, it's all about how you go about things. Like, especially those conversations that not are like hard by any means, but some people are super sensitive about, whether it be their weight or what they consume. Like, I used to eat just absolute crap all the time, drink just the worst possible things, and never really thought anything of it. And I knew like, I drink a lot of soda. Well, now I'm only going to drink soda when I drink alcohol, so only on the weekends. And it's like, again, in my mind, it's like, well, I'm drinking less soda, so that's good, right? But also it's just like being more mindful of it, being more aware of it, and then actually having someone to hold you accountable and do it with you, that also helps. But also just when you do something and you see the counter effect of it, and like how it makes you feel, how you're working together on whatever it may be. But like, again, that that feeling of like noticing a difference, feeling a difference. Like I feel a million times better now
Right.
than I did, 4 months ago. Like, do I wish I still had more energy? Sure. But do I notice that I have more energy and I feel better and I'm, more cognizant and not so like foggy? Absolutely. And I think, that comes along with, what you're putting in your body. And like, again, we're
Right.
not specimen of perfect food and diet and exercise by any means, but like, simple changes of, like you said, of being mindful and not doing things because it's easy can have a long process, but also have a great outcome.
Right. And like, I mean, yeah, I guess that's more or less of a big thing that makes any relationship, but like also what works for ours is like we also know what some of our biggest insecurities are, like about each other. And so obviously talking about like lifestyle, health, things that really can create some controversy in any room or any conversation, like how we approach it is, I feel like, pretty mutual. It's never like, it's not like you're this like, it's not like there's two extremes.
Right. It's not like you're being like, listen, I want you to eat better because of the way you look.
Correct.
You're like, I'm worried about your heart. I'm worried about your brain. Obviously, with the medical issues that I've had, of like, these are real concerns and things that we can do to hopefully help alleviate some of those concerns and health issues by just simply changing some things. And again,
Right.
it'd be a wildly different story if Kenny was like, yeah, you need to stop drinking soda, Gatorades with sugar in it, and eating X, Y, and Z because you're getting huge. Like that's not how you be a...
Unless if it's Mountain Dew.
Right. Well, Mountain Dew is obviously not a great thing, so...
Listen.
But again, that's how you are as a team. Like, I remember having, teammates that sound so cheesy about like beer league softball. And, you're a team and you got to have tough conversations, and right or wrong, it's a conversation. Like I remember we used to have to be the umpire, like of our own team. Like you're coaching first base or third base, you're actually the umpire for your team that's up to bat. And I remember one of my teammates, I called him out. It was a close play. I thought he was out and he's like, bro, I'm on your team. Like, what the hell? And it's just like, yeah, while you're on my team, we also have to have some integrity in this.
Right.
And like, and good outlook, and like, even when it's tough, like, you're going to tell me tough things that I might not want to hear, but it's for the greater good and vice versa.
Right.
Like it's simple in the sense of being a teammate and having tough conversations, even if, at the end of the day, yes, we're each other's biggest supporters and so on and so forth. But if there's a greater picture involved, like you have to be okay having those conversations. And if you're not supporting your teammate in that sense, your partner, then what's the purpose of this partnership?
Right. Absolutely. And I mean, like, it's not even just like about just that. It's like
No.
we do that with everything. And like, if it's our jobs, if it's our lifestyle and stuff like that. But like, in hindsight, is like when we talk to like I even say about like my sister or like our friends or like people that are also in like marriages or relationships or anything that you're doing is like surrounding yourself with somebody and spending your life with somebody it's not easy. It's not a walk in the park, and it's not like you have this rule book and guidebook of being like, yeah, this is what you do and this is how you'll be successful together.
Right.
But like I think of like relationships, marriage, like spouses, any household really is like, or even just a friendship, is having realistic conversations with also being empathetic to the other person.
Right.
Because like if you don't care and you don't know how to be a team, it's going to be really hard to
get to mutual goals or even personal goals.
Correct. And so like that's the thing, is it's not even just about lifestyle, happiness, health, well-being, anything like that. It's just like in any conversation, and like it's not that easy, and it's not like a walk in the park for even us.
No, I mean, absolutely not.
And like obviously it helps because for a long time we were friends, but in terms of how much we care for each other is like, if you feel bad, I feel bad.
Right.
It's like you win and lose as a team, no matter what the situation is. Like, that's the whole point of, like, team sports. And, like, I grew up playing team sports. I grew up playing individual sports. But, like, when you are on a team and you're around other people, it's like you win and lose. You succeed and fail. Like, you have mutual feelings. And if there's an outlier that doesn't match that, it is very much like fluorescent
Absolutely.
to the rest of it.
Absolutely.
And, like, don't get me wrong, is you're welcome to have your own opinions. Everybody has their own opinion. Like, nothing ever is supposed to be so seamed together where it's one. But, like, any level of partnership or team.
I mean, like, even coworkers, friendships, relationships, family relationships, whatever it is, there's some sort of team aspect in that.
Right.
And, like, I think about, some of our friends and family that are, like, super heavy on you of, like, you need to work less, like, you're working too much, like, you need to do less hours, you're not getting compensated enough, or whatever it may be. And then they look at me like, yeah, don't you think? And it's like, no, like, to a degree, sure. But also at the same time, like, we're in a place now where we're building our lives, like, together. But this is also the time for her and I to build our careers, to grind out. So hopefully by the time we have kids, she isn't working, an 18-hour day in the middle of summer, 4 days a week. And I'm not streaming until, 10:30 at night, 4 days a week, whatever it may be. And, and that I think is a huge thing to have in a relationship, is like that mutual support of, like, right now is the time we grind, is the time we get where we want to go in our careers. For me, a bigger followership and a bigger viewership. So, hopefully one day I can transition and wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning and stream from 10 to 4:30 and be like, yeah, that was great, and not have any worry, or, not miss prime time or not grow as much. But, like, right now that's not really the case, because, the viewership comes later, and, you're going to grow more the later you stream and whatever it may be. And the same thing for you. Like, you have goals and aspirations of where you want to be in your career.
Right.
And obviously you're grinding at those, making those late nights, those trips or whatever it may be, in hopes that, in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you can go in at 9 o'clock and leave at 5:30 every day, and it not be, this big crazy thing. And to have that in a partner, I think, is huge, because, again, at the end of the day, do I wish Kenny was home more, especially in the busy season? I mean, absolutely. Who wouldn't? Just like I can imagine the same thing for you of, like, yeah, I wish you weren't streaming until 10 o'clock at night some nights and I'm passed out because I just worked an 18-hour day. But we're both understanding of it.
Right. I mean, absolutely. I think that's for anybody. And, like, and in terms of everything looks differently. Like, don't get me wrong. There's people that, need that in a relationship. There's people that need the extra, like, kick in the ass almost. Right. But, like, in terms of, like, having understanding, it's like there's so many times that we sit here and I'm like, well, I need more of this from you right now. Right. It's not an everything thing, but, like, this is what I need so that I can feel or do or see or be or whatever it might be. It's just, like, that's where you meet in the middle. And, like, I think of this past year and, like, how chaotic it was. And, like, we talked about this. And, like, don't get me wrong, is, like, our relationship obviously is, public to an extent, but, and our friendship wasn't. So, like, it's always, like, a joke. It's always, like, a ha-ha. We talk about the evolution of us and whatever it might be. I think it's always, like, so funny to be like, you actually don't know. And you actually, like, don't see it, because everybody's like, like, even if it's you streaming and they're like, when are you going to put a ring on it? Like, all of this. But, like, it's not like we're naive and we don't have these conversations, because we've had conversations, like, we talked about what ring I want, we've talked about things that, like, nobody else needs to have those conversations but us. But, like, nobody knows that we've been talking about, spending our life with each other for a long time. Right. And, like, we've talked about, like, big conversations. We talked about, like, nitty-gritty. And, like, it's not about a timeline. It's, like, about what we choose for people to know, including, like, our families, our friends. Like, like, that's that's part of it. And obviously we have platforms for everybody to be a part of our life. But, like, it's funny because people think about, like, our engagement. And I think about the year that we had. Is like, there was a point where we talked about it. And, like, even the thought of going to look at rings stressed me out.
Right.
Because in my mind, I was like, you know, that means that we go look at it. That means you buy it. And that means it's going to happen within X amount of time. Like, that was the things that were, like, processing in my head. I didn't know how to vocalize it. I didn't know how to feel it. It was a lot of, like, I wouldn't say discomfort, because it's not, like, in that moment.
This is also something so, like, new, in a sense.
Right. And it's not, like, in that moment where if you were to have asked at this point, it's not like I would have said no.
Right.
But it's, like, in my mind, I'm, like, the pressure of all of the questions that we're getting now. And I'm, like, at that point, I felt so much smaller and so much weaker than what I do now. And it's not even a matter of that. But, like, I vocalized that because I was like, I don't want to take it away from you. I don't want to take it away from us. I want this to happen. I just can't. I'm not ready in this moment to just spontaneously go and do that, because then I'm going to constantly think about it.
Right.
And
because, again, it wasn't like you were thinking, like, oh, my God, he's going to propose. We've never talked about this, and I don't want to marry you.
right.
Like, it was never the situation or the thought that was going on.
Right. But, like, it also created a hard, or I wouldn't say hard, but, like, for me to vocalize that and, like, process how that would make you feel was also very hard.
Right.
But it, like, when it comes to being a team and comes to having a level of understanding, is, like, we talked through it, and, like, me professing being like, I love you, I care about you, there's nothing else I want. I just think that this is not the right moment right now.
Right.
And it's not even the act of asking, but, like, the process of it. It's like, I wasn't ready to start rolling that ball.
Right.
In that moment. And it ended up working out because I never had to think about rolling the ball.
You never did. And that was my whole thought process was that. And again, you had, vocalized that you thought it'd be a good idea to go ring shopping. And I was like, okay, yeah, we'll do that, whatever. And, that happened, and we kind of kept rolling, and, other things in life kept coming up, and we were busy with people visiting and going places and doing it. And I was like, you know what? Let's just take that whole possibility out of it and just go with what I know, go with what your sisters talked about. Her and I went looking, and...
But, like, I think about the time, like, when we started having those conversations, it was, like, way back when, like, Ben and Sammy were getting married.
Yeah.
And, like, you and I were still in the Carolinas alone.
Right.
So it's like, you are now very lucky to have my sister, who is well adverse to the things that she helped you with and helped you educate, because then it was a role reversal, because at that point I was like, I'm responsible because you have no idea. I know what I want. We're trying to figure it out. Like, it's not like you've done it before. It's not like I've done it before.
Yeah.
So, like, we were figuring it out together earlier on in the year, and then it ended up working out where, we have our family here. You could rely on my sister. You could have those conversations. You could educate yourself and then ask questions to somebody that knew. But, like, no matter what it is, it's not even about the ring. It's about the act of it. And that was my whole thing. Right. Is, like, I was very clear about the things that I wanted, and it was very respected, and it went exactly as I would ever imagine. Right. Like, it doesn't, like, none of it mattered except for, like, the intimacy of it happening. And, like, like, I always say is, like, for me, I did nothing. And it's, like, I know that's an ongoing, like, joke for people, but, like, I even say it at work. Like, I say it to, my boss and, like, my coworkers, and I'm like, I didn't do anything. I didn't do any of the hard work. I didn't have the stress. I didn't have any...
to hide it. Didn't have to set up and try to get you out of the house.
I was blind to it, which is good. And I was like, the only thing that was reliable on me was actually saying yes. Right. And so, like, there is a lot that goes into it, and, like, you never want to really take that away. So having those hard conversations sometimes is necessary. Right. If it doesn't even have to be an engagement. Like,
Yeah,
you
and
know?
again, like you kind of mentioned earlier of like, there's times where we both talk about like the things that we need more of in that moment. And like neither of us should ever like get upset at the person for saying that, because nobody in a partnership and, you know, team should ever feel like they can't say what they need in that moment,
Right.
which is something I think we do majorly very well.
Right. And like sometimes we overthink and like don't allow it to come out. But like that's something that like no matter what relationship, whatever partnership you're in, there's always going to be evolution to it.
Right.
And like you're learning every day. Like you're living, you're coexisting, you're codepending. Like there's so much that goes into any relationship or
Right.
any like team
Yeah.
atmosphere.
Absolutely. 100%.
And like we still figure that out. We still
Yeah.
figure it out every day.
And that's the thing. Like, I can imagine there's people that watch and listen that have been married for 2 years, 5 years, 10, 25, 30, whatever it is. And they still have conversations like that where, it's, changing, evolutionizing, whatever it may be, and still having conversations like that. Because again, I think if you're not having those conversations, either it's stagnant, possibly, or maybe you've figured out the means of communication that just works really, really well, and you're good. Like, there's
Right.
nothing wrong with either of those by any means, but nothing is the same forever.
No. I mean, and even just like in simple terms is like people's love languages change. There's like different moments that you need something differently than what you normally need.
Right.
It's just like that changes all the time. Like I can tell you that there's been a couple days this past week where I wake up and I am angry. I'm angry. And it's just, like it has nothing to do with anyone. But like I wouldn't even say angry. It's just like you get irritable.
Yeah.
And then you're like, why are you looking at me like that? Why are you talking to me like that? Like it's not even just you. Like we do family dinners on Sundays. We spend time with everybody. And it's just like there's moments where you're like, what did you just say to me? Or like, why would you say that? Or why would you open Pandora's box to that conversation?
And when most of the time it's harmless, like questions or comments, but because you're in that like state of mind and mood or whatever it may be, you take it a whole different way.
Yeah. But like in those moments you need something differently than maybe what you did
The day prior.
the day before.
And having that flexibility and understanding between partners is huge.
But like I think that's what makes it so fun sometimes. But that also can be a reason why it makes it so hard.
Yes. Yep.
There's a lot of people that struggle with adjustment. You know?
Yeah, I definitely know.
Why you say it like that with your eyebrows up, staring at me?
I'm just saying, like, change is difficult for some people.
That's not what I'm talking about. I don't like change. I hate change. There's nothing about it I enjoy. The anticipation of it, the thought of it happening, nothing. If it's gonna change, I don't want to know. But like in terms of also our relationship, like we also both are the same when it comes to you set your mind on something, that's what it's gonna be.
Yes.
I do it.
Yep.
You also do it.
I definitely do it.
Or it's like
just something as simple as like when I was putting that coffee bar together and the drawer got stuck. I was like, I had some ideas. I was talking you through it, and then I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it. And you're like, nope, let me do this. And I was like, well, let me know. No, like, don't do that. I'm going to do this. And you're like, no, I'm going to do. And it's just like, hang on.
And guess who fixed it? Well, you're going to have to live with it shut. I'm not living with nothing shut.
I was still thinking it through. I had some ideas, and I was like, oh, let me do this. And you're like, no, I'm going to do this. And you pop out that, and it was just like, again, just something as simple as what I had thought of to then fix it, but you also were already on something that you were like, this will fix it, or whatever else. It's just like simple things, and like, don't get me wrong, it wasn't like an argument or a disagreement or anything, but it was just like we both have thoughts in our mind and situations where we're like, that's the way forward.
Yeah. No. Exactly. And like that's the hard part. And like we get better at it. We get better at it all the time. And sometimes we get to sit there and call each other names and say, you don't know what you're talking about.
And
But
sometimes you just say, okay, that's the way we'll do it. That's
yeah,
okay
but then
too.
you become so passive aggressive, and that makes it worse.
Sometimes, sure, but also at the end of the day, it's just like, okay, fine, yeah, we'll do it, whatever.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that. Yeah, whatever.
I never say yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
but...
whatever. Yeah, whatever. Talk to God. I'm gonna choke you.
Oh my God.
Talk to God. Don't talk to me.
That's between God and you. I didn't make that.
He said that to me last week. So you're wondering why I just said that I woke up irritable. Talk to God. Don't talk to me. All right. Don't talk to me.
And it wasn't like I don't want to hear it or like don't talk to me at all.
That's literally your words.
I know, but it was more of like I didn't choose this. Like talk to God. It was just more of like a hee hee ha ha.
And so for anybody listening, you know what I did? I didn't talk to him. Stopped talking to him. I walked away.
Yeah. I was like, well, I didn't mean it like that, but I can understand how it'd be perceived as that. But no, I was not telling you not to talk to me.
Hands up, don't talk to me. How would you perceive that? If you came around the corner, I'm in the pantry, I'm hanging around, you asked me a question, don't talk to me, talk to God. Verbatim.
I don't know.
How would you take that? Don't talk to me.
If it was just don't talk to me out of nowhere, I'd be like, what? What is that? What do you mean? But if it was a don't talk to me, talk to God.
Those were your words.
Again, honestly.
Quotation. Put it in the Wikipedia.
But also, it's not like
crazy.
Again, I view that as it's not like you can pick up the phone and be like, all right, what do I mean? Like, obviously.
In the topic that we were talking about, obviously. Obviously. You know what? You're right. Let me get in my car. Let me go down the road. I'm going to go to church. I'm going to go talk to God. Yeah.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah. And you love to love.
Love to love.
Talk to God. I'll tell you what. That could make anybody cuckoo mad. But yeah. You're getting better. Your communication's getting better to me.
Nice.
In the way that you're talking to me. Sometimes it's not good. Like before we turned on the podcast, you said something to me. I'm like, you don't get to do it if I don't get to do it.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
That's not how it works. It doesn't work like that.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, so that's the team. We're a great team. That's the T. We are a great team.
We are a good team. Because I think we support each other and we're there for each other. And, sometimes I think, may be tough because we necessarily don't show up the way we might be expecting. But the other person is actively trying to show up in a different way. And I think that's also something that we communicate of like, that's not what I'm looking for right now.
Yeah.
And I need this, kind of going back to what you said earlier.
Yeah. Exactly.
What does that look for?
Nothing, I'm just thinking. I'm thinking of things. You know?
I don't know.
Yeah. No, I know you don't know.
Because I know nothing.
Yeah. Just for anybody that feels the same way, I wake up every single morning and I roll over and I look at him and I just remind him how lucky he is to have me.
I'm very lucky.
That's what you have to say to each other. You're like, no, I'm so lucky to have you. No, you are so lucky to have me. That's how you should feel. That's self-love.
That is a great point. I will say that, yeah. Yep. I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Unless if it's abusive and really toxic.
Right. If you're like just gaslighting someone.
Run to the hills.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But,
if you would have just belittled me and then been like, you know what, you're very lucky to have me. Like, you're very lucky. And then all of a sudden thrown in like really great things after you did something really, really bad. That'd be like a...
Yeah, don't do that. We do not condone that.
Yeah, I would not recommend that.
Yeah.
I think we've both been gaslit plenty of times in our lives to understand when someone's gaslighting. And I don't think either of us ever really gaslit each other.
No. I don't believe in that. I'm brutally honest.
Yeah, what you get is what you get. There's no there's no like, oh, is Kenny like this or is Kenny like that? Like, you know how Kenny is.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad thing by any means.
Like-
She's honest. There's no pussyfooting around anything. There's no tiptoeing around an answer or a question.
That's a crazy way to call it.
What?
That but yeah, I don't beat around the bush. You pussyfoot?
Yeah, that's like a saying. Like, there's no pussyfooting around it.
I've never heard that, and that came out of nowhere. Was not expecting that, and now
That like? Did I just say something really bad?
I have honestly no idea, but no, I don't beat around the bush. Nope. I also have. Has anybody watched the movie Sonic?
Okay, inherently not a bad word. Just negative and critical, meaning to be overly cautious, evasive, or timid.
Yeah.
Not timid with questions or...
No,
or
I don't. I've never heard that, but like,
yeah.
I would assume it meant exactly what it meant.
Yeah.
But if anybody's ever watched the movie Sonic, like...
It was the new one. Sonic 14 or whatever it was.
I don't know. Yeah, it was the new one. I love it. It's a great movie.
Great flick.
Yeah, well, having nephews now down the road, have special sleepover nights, we do movie nights, all of that. And we watched Sonic with my oldest nephew last time he had a sleepover. And there was a line, and now I am obsessed with this line. And there was the bad guy, and he said, and he grabbed him by the bottom jaw.
His like assistant, he grabbed his assistant right by the jaw like a dog.
Yeah, like grabbed him right by the muzzle and said, you know what the worst thing about being the smartest person alive is? Everyone else is stupid. And I've been living by that. I love that. I love that term. I love that for me. And I love grabbing anybody by the bottom jaw.
I hope you're not grabbing other people or really anybody by the bottom jaw.
No, but like, I'd play it in my mind.
Oh.
Because I'm not going to say this in terms of direction, but I've dealt in my profession with some
people you'd like to grab by the jaw and say that line to.
Exactly.
No, that makes sense.
But I love that.
But yeah, so check it out, Sonic 14 or whatever the newest one was.
It's not 14, but it's one of the newer Sonics. It's very good. And it's like right towards the end.
Yeah.
I
actually was the one that turned to her and said, that could be your new catchphrase.
Yeah.
And she was like, I love that.
And so the next day,
woke up, she grabbed me by the jaw.
We woke up, he rolled over, he told me how lucky he is to have me. And I said, you are so lucky to have me. And I said, and you know what? And I grabbed him right by the jaw. And I said the line. And I love that. Like, how good is that?
Yeah, I mean, unless you're on the receiving end of being called stupid and knowing nothing. After your mouth is being grabbed like a bad dog.
They're your words, not mine.
Like I said, no pussyfooting around it.
Yeah, that's a crazy way to go about that conversation. But yeah. Long dramatic pause.
We haven't had one of those in a while.
And I hate that. I hate
when
that.
It just gets like quiet and we're both sitting here?
Well,
or just like in general?
No, because I always try and break it because then you just sit there with a dazed look, like long blank, like Marley blink. And I'm just like, are you going to say anything? Because it is a podcast.
Yeah, it's not like I'm just like dead in the face the whole time not talking.
No.
Because that'd be miserable.
No, I know.
That'd
But
be
it's
awful.
just like a long dramatic pause that people who aren't live with us and they're listening
right
in the car and they're like, oh, it ended and they didn't even say goodbye.
That is true. It is tough to do. Like constantly just because again, it's not like it's scripted. Excuse me. Like, it's like, oh, your line. Oh, my line. Oh, your line kind of thing. So like it can be tough. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, it's not a playwright. It's a conversation.
I feel like I could actually write a really good play.
Like, what would you write a play about?
I'd probably honestly write a play of my childhood. And one of the most climactic scenes would be my dad telling me to read out loud for a punishment.
I love that. Have we talked about that here in this space?
Have we told you guys about the story, the time I got in trouble as a kid and what my punishment was? I don't think
I mean,
we
we
have.
can speed the dramatic of the beginning of it because that's not even the funniest part.
So I had a friend over. We're playing frisbee in the backyard. I throw the frisbee over my friend throws the frisbee over my head, and it lands on our covered pool. And I'm in like the 3rd grade, and I said like, "How the hell are we gonna get that out?" Or "How the f are we gonna get that out?" And my dad had a window fan in, had just gotten home from work and was changing, and yells at me through the fan because he heard me, tells me to get inside, and I'm like, "Oh man, I'm in trouble." And I get in there, and he's like, "You need to sit down right here, get a book and read it." And I'm like, and I hated school, hated reading. And I'm like, all right, whatever, like, sure, buddy. So I grab the book and I just flop it open. And he goes, "And you're going to read out loud." And I was like, what? And my dad literally made me read a book out loud as a punishment. My friend's just sitting there like, what the hell is going on?
That is so good. Because, like, even now, he hates to read.
Hate it.
He hates reading. Like, he doesn't even read instructions. It was just, it's my favorite point to prove because it's such a clear point.
Hate it.
He also doesn't read recipes.
I do now because you made it very clear and made me realize how stupid it
Your
was
point
what I was
was?
saying. Yeah.
Your point was, it's not that you were being stupid. Your acts were just outlandish. Because
Yeah.
now, I would say you are a better cook. I think
Nice.
I wouldn't say you cook.
No, but I'm not just,
No.
yeah.
No.
I'm not just being like, I'm going to make Diet Coke chicken and putting 2 cans of Diet Coke ketchup and throwing
It in
chicken
the
breast in there.
or something.
Saw that
like
on
that.
TikTok today.
Yeah, just don't make that. Don't.
Supposedly you can make a really good barbecue sauce with Diet Coke, but the woman I saw poured 2 Diet Coke cans and just was hammering it with ketchup, and people were like ripping it apart of like, that is wild to me. But there are actual recipes that I've heard that are actually very good at barbecue.
Yeah, I don't like barbecue like that, but the whole point is like he wasn't just like slinging out good food. And then we got what was it? The HelloFresh.
HelloFresh.
And then that helped, but it got to a point where he's like, this came out so bad. And I was like, what did the instructions say? He's like, I didn't read them.
Or I skipped, or like, or
He
while
skipped
like,
a major
or while like
section.
the pork was cooking, I went to step 6 and did like the slaw, and then I realized I put something in the slaw that was supposed to go in the pork, and I was like, damn, here I am just trying to be like efficient. And like a lot of times I actually think about sometimes how I'm being a little too over efficient, where it's like, okay, I've got something in the microwave for 45 seconds, and I also have this stuff that I need to put away. If I put this stuff away and then start the microwave, that's not being efficient. I'm going to start the microwave and do these other things so then I'm not wasting time. Or it's like, oh, I need to let the dogs out, but I also need to turn on the dryer. Well, if I go let the dogs out first, the dryer hasn't been turned on as long as it would have been by the time the dogs are coming back in.
You sound absolutely nuts.
But that's how I think.
Yeah, nobody asked for that.
Yeah.
That
'Cause
is
I'll be like,
that took a dark turn.
yeah, like, oh, I need to wipe the counters down, but I also
You have crazy eyes right now.
need to microwave my leftovers from last night for dinner. So I'm then gonna turn the microwave on first and do as many things as I can while the microwave is going to be as efficient as possible.
You have nothing but time.
And like even when I set up my stream, like I have a certain way of doing it. Like I'll start loading programs after I hit the power button on my second PC, so that one's starting up and getting ready while I'm opening programs on the first one. So by the time I'm done opening the programs, the second computer is ready to start having programs put in.
Wow.
Because if I just start opening programs and then turn on the PC, I just wasted time while it's starting to get kicked on. I think like that a lot, and I'm like, whoa.
It's like the Matrix, but like back to the original point is you were skipping all
Pivotal points.
a lot of steps. But like it was the act of reading it. like, I see the picture, I see what they're doing, I'm doing something else. But then would question is like, why do these recipes not come out well? And I was like, well, first of all, did you read it? And the answer was no. And then I proved a point to him. I was like, do you think that they make cookbooks or recipes for you to make to fail? Like step by step, temperatures, time, you know, if you can do this while you're preparing this, it will tell you, right? They don't set you up to fail.
Right. Like,
because then cookbooks wouldn't be a thing.
or like I picked a dish that had 5,000 4-star reviews. So obviously it's a good dish. And I'm like, why does this suck?
But, and like, it would be like, why is the rice not cooking the way that it's supposed to?
Also, very upset that for the longest time, when I first moved down here, you had me cooking rice in a pot, and then we had a rice cooker. I had no idea.
We didn't always have a rice cooker.
I thought we did.
No.
I was like, here I am trying to like cook rice like the real way, and we had a rice cooker this entire time. And I even messed up the rice cooker because I didn't look it up.
No. But like that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Like even in the new year, it's like we talked about this last year in the new year. I am not necessarily a fan of resolution. If you're going to do something, I think that you can do it at any point in your year. If you're actively being mindful of making yourself better, I don't think it should have a timestamp, right?
Right.
But some people need that. Some people need the structure. But like I asked him, I was like, do you think that you're going to read a book this year?
No.
The answer was no. And I'm like, you never know. You never know what you might come up on.
You know when I actually used to read books and buy books was whenever I was flying, especially alone. I would go to like the little like newsstands with like the snacks and stuff, and I'd go and they'd always have like a war section, and I'd pick a book and I would read it, and I would end up reading it through my trip or when I got back home because I was like, well, I didn't have the time or the something to keep me occupied, so I was like, oh, I'll try this, and yeah, looking back, I read some great books.
But like, and I asked this, and I didn't elaborate in the moment because obviously you don't try and push, and you like, if you don't want to, you don't have to. Like, I'm not gonna be like, are you crazy?
Have you read your book today?
Like, I'm not gonna be like your dad.
How
and be
many
like,
pages did you
read
read
it
today?
out loud. You've had too much screen time. Read it. Like, I'm not saying that, but like in hindsight, is you are on a screen all day long.
All day.
And you also love trash TV.
Love trash TV.
Love trash TV. Love suspense, like suspenseful shows, movies. Like, and there's been a couple of instances where I've read the books to certain movies we go and watch, and you're like, wow, that was like a great movie, or that was a great storyline. And I'm like, the book was better.
And see, that's my thing. Like, I always say, like, there's a book and there's a movie.
But, like, that's the thing, is, like, most of these books, especially movies that come out now, those books have been
right.
well before.
And like you said, most of the time the books are better than the movies.
Correct, because there's more information, there's more detail,
Right.
The language is different. Like, but, like, I genuinely think that if you start and finish a book, you would enjoy it. Like, also, you struggle with falling asleep.
Yeah.
I think that you would do a better job at falling asleep if you read a book at night.
And I've heard people say that, absolutely.
But, like, and it's not me being like, I think you should read a book, and you need to read it out loud, and you need to be my voiceover because I read a book, or like...
Right. Or it's not like you're so uneducated, you literally need to read a book at night.
Yeah, that's not what I mean. But
No.
I actually genuinely think that you would enjoy it. I'm not saying that you'd be like, I'm going to read 75 books
Right.
this year. I'm like, you literally could read one book this year.
Right. Yeah.
Within 365 days, you could read one book.
Yeah.
And like I said, you don't have to start it in the new year.
Maybe, when's our next trip? Are we flying anywhere?
Possibly for your retirement.
Yep. Maybe I'll get a book here in Charlotte.
Maybe.
You never know.
I also love going to like Barnes & Noble.
Overwhelming. Scary to me.
I love
I
it.
feel like it's clammy in there. Or maybe I just get clammy.
Yeah, I think it's you. You're a clam.
Yeah.
But like but like you have to have the right mindset. I think that if you're like, I hate reading and this is miserable and this was a punishment for me as a kid, it's like,
Well, and to a degree, like it almost kind of was, because growing up, one of my aunts would constantly get me, like birthdays, Christmas, would be like, hey, here's a toy to help you learn, or here's a bear that helps you count, or here's this book that's interactive that you, and it was just like, I don't like books. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like you're just trying to push me on Ad Libs and Magic Treehouse books when I want toys and soldiers and
Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew. Like, and it wasn't necessarily my forte. Like, my parents would, read to me when I was really little, and, we obviously had to read books in school, and, like, I can't imagine going back, like, being in high school right now. Like, I barely read books that I had to for school back then using the internet. I couldn't imagine being like, yep, you need to read this book, and in 3 weeks you have a project due. I'd go right to my computer, go to some AI website and say, tell me everything I need to know. I couldn't imagine being a kid right now in school.
I don't think that they teach the kids the way that they used to teach us.
Makes sense.
But like, you also have to think about that. It's like, I think that it happens for a different reason. Like, I am potentially picking up a new hobby. I bought myself a Cricut. For those who don't know what that is, it's hard for me to explain because I myself still don't know its full potential.
It's like the world's most...
It's an embroiderer, vinyl maker,
it's like a craft
screen
machine.
printer. It's literally just like a craft machine that... And reason being is my sister, she's very creative. She is the creative mind. I'm not. But like where we meet in the middle between her and I is I'll start and finish.
Makes a great team.
We make a great team. She struggles. Granted, she's a mother of 3. She's starting a new career. She is probably one of the most ambitious people I've ever met, and she is smart.
And if she doesn't listen to this podcast after that shout out, I'm going to be pissed for you.
She won't, and then there will
Be like, how was the podcast this week?
I know, but your parents are watching and be like, Katie, you should probably listen. She just gave you the best compliment ever.
Yep, after I just called out my dad for making me read a book out loud.
Well, he knows. He knows. That was a great call, and I've told him that before. But like, she's a businesswoman, and she's like, but like, reeling it back in, other than gloating about how great my sister is, but like, she is creative minded, and she's been doing hair. She's had her own twist on it. Like she does a lot of good creative stuff, but doesn't have the bandwidth to complete it. Me, I'm OCD when it comes to completing a project. If I want it started, I usually will have it finished. It's like, and then I get mad at myself the more I like postpone it. Is like, I think about like the schoolwork that I have right now, is like, it physically makes me angry if I haven't worked on something to complete it. It frustrates me. And so with that, and my Cricut machine that I've purchased, is we're going to put the two together and hopefully come up with something. And like, just do something on the side for both of us. And like...
And it's not even like you guys are like, oh, we need a side hustle. It'd be like, I think it'd be fun to do. Like you've brought up, things that you've purchased even as of recently, like, hey, what I just got, we're going to be able to make stuff like that.
Right.
Or like, hey, thinking down the road towards a wedding of like the things that you could make for a wedding.
Right. And that was the big reason, because I've been like trapped in a certain
side of TikTok?
Yeah, certain hole of TikTok. And like, it's not like the wedding planning and stuff like that. That's not a Jensen, like, I'm not a normal girl.
Yeah, you're not like looking up like best ways to create invites or like unique wedding things.
Nope. But I do value my dollar. I do value our money. I do value our life. And financially, that is a big reason why I did it. Is like, I don't need to be paying anybody.
$800 for invites.
I was like, yeah, I don't need to be doing this when I can do this. And so it's more or less an investment that the two of us, as in like my sister and I, we're going to perfect it, and we're going to make something of it.
Yeah, I mean,
I will
like,
get return on investment.
Yeah, absolutely. Whether it's just for your own gain of like, this is how much money I save by making stuff, or even if you and your sister one day in a month, 2 months, 6 months decide, hey, why don't we open up a little Etsy shop and see what we can do? Like, there's no harm or no foul. It's not like you're buying a brick and mortar and a laser etcher and all this stuff and have to make it work. If you end up just doing it because you guys want to create stuff for around the house or friends, family, Christmas cards, or like you mentioned, the little stickers you put on wrapping paper, like to write your name and stuff. I didn't know that was, and like I think of like things that I've bought of like off of Etsy of like, holy crap, like, so it's probably someone in suburbia America with a Cricut machine that I just paid for their whole stack of materials for that one thing. So it's like, I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah. So for anybody that has a Cricut and that wants to send me all of their insider tips and tricks and what to start with and where to go, you let me know. But I'm very excited.
Yeah. When does it come in?
It's supposed to be here either Wednesday or Thursday.
I was going to say, because Amazon or somebody just dropped something on the front door. So I was like, oh, maybe that's it.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah.
But no, that kind of rolls into a write-in we had about...
We did have a write-in, yeah.
Financial stability, how we strive for success, and what like a comfortable life is that we want financially, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, finances are tough in a sense, and I don't mean it in a bad way, but like I think of us as like individuals. We were both very financially different. When I was single, living alone, I 9 times out of 10 was spending my 2 weeks paycheck right up until that second paycheck came, whether it be, going out with friends, going on trips, upgrading my car or buying a boat or something. Like, I was never one to be really conscious and mindful of like savings. I was like, oh, I'm young. I want to have nice things. I work hard. I make decent money. Like, I want to do the things that I want to do. I want to have the things that I have, and so on and so forth. And, Kenny was very different. Like, she obviously went on trips, did things like, spent money, but she was more money conscious of, savings and, being aware of your dollar and how far the dollar goes. And then, when you get into a relationship, you kind of have to very much mend, good spending habits with bad spending habits to create healthy spending habits that aren't, oh my God, you went to the dump today on the way home, you got Subway, like what the hell, that was $9, like what are you doing? But it's also making sure you're not doing the opposite of just like, hang on, what is all this stuff, or what these massive purchases, or we're going on trips every weekend and we don't have any money in our savings for the things that we want in the future, whether it be, a wedding, a house, thinking of, kids, whatever it may be. And like, financial stability is a tough topic for a lot of people.
I mean,
a lot of people.
You just think about the difference in households of like, and like every household's different. It's like there's people that have a 1 income household, there's people that have 2. Honestly, there's people that have multiple because they have different revenue sources, and like whatever it is, like not trying to be like the, I have my
financial guru
like,
or whatever.
I'm not saying that, but like it's more or less of like having understanding is like you were somebody, and you still are to an extent, is like you're immediate. You look at what's in front of you, you look at what's in our bank account, you look and see like, we have it, we can do it.
And it goes back to like thinking of like, once I get my mind on something, I'm going to do it, whether it be an upgrade for the stream, or even when I was truck shopping, I was like, yep, this is great. This is manageable. This is, in the range that we were kind of talking, like, let's just go. And you're like, well, yeah, sure, we can do it. But like, why not have the conversations about it and make sure, go back over things and make sure we are good. And we are still, continuing to save like we are. And we are still, keeping our goals in mind that we're trying to achieve.
And like, it's not a control thing. It's like a mutual understanding, is because we are a multiple income household, and like we both work really hard for the money that we have, but also that we save together for the things that we want in the future, which, the more that you plan for it, the more that you talk about it, the easier that it gets. And sometimes it doesn't. Some people have complete opposite, spectrums of how they handle money, which
To each their own.
I'm not going to sit here and make this about like what you should do versus what you shouldn't do, but it's more or less of like what works for us is we have two extremes. Like I'm somebody that like I don't want to work forever. I also want to gradually get myself to a point where it's like I've done my time, I've done my energy, I make good money, and I want to maintain that steady income. And I also like having something to work towards, which I would say we both do. But at the same time is like you're shiny, like you like the shiny thing, and I like to see the shiny thing on a wall in a blown up version and see how it can make everything else shiny. And then like that also makes it good for both of us is we both have an understanding is like I also play devil's advocate of long-term goals, and you also play devil's advocate of like we work for this, we value this, but like we also have a budget that we have done together, and it breaks everything down for us, and it allows us to see is like this is what we can fund spend, and this is like if we change one thing, this is how it affects the other thing. And like the more we put those numbers in together and look at them together, it makes those decisions easier. It's like buying a truck. And it also comes to like a mutual understanding is like we also don't have control over each other because we both are hardworking and we both put into the things to get to the goal that we have. We make a good team. But like at the same time is like it's also your job to support and also have the conversation and be like, well, let's also think about this. Okay, that's a good point, but I'm also thinking about this. And like I think of even having that conversation about the truck and like this is yours. This is what you get to make of it. I'm just simply trying to ask all the questions so that when it's all said and done and you have it, that's exactly what you want.
Right, because like I always thought of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna own a house. Like, yeah, of course, everybody ends up owning a house, and it's the American dream or whatever. But if you're not financially planning for it, it makes it a lot harder when that time comes.
Right.
And I was always the guy of like, well, if I want something, I'm gonna get it, and I'm gonna figure it out.
Right.
Whether I picked up an extra job before I started streaming to make sure I had extra money to go out with my friends, or to make sure I could, pay for my super expensive Jeep that was completely unnecessary, but I had my mindset on it, and I was like, I work hard, I love that, I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm going to get it.
Right.
And again, we're lucky in the same aspect of like, we respect each other's hard work, we respect each other's money, and like, yeah, she went out and bought a Cricut. That was an expensive item, but it wasn't like, oh my God, you just, like I went to you and like, what do you mean? Like you just spent all this money? Mm-hmm. Or again, like the drastic situation of, oh my God, you went out to lunch twice this week. Like that's money. We've got groceries at home or whatever it may be. It's finding that healthy balance and understanding of, this is our goal. This is how we're getting there. And like you said, this affecting this and that affecting that. Like it's very much a team driven thing because
and we have like unspoken of rules. Like, I think that would be a great topic that we can talk about is like what are the unspoken of rules in our household, and like everybody has them.
Right.
Everybody has them, but like that's also one thing is like, yeah, we have our own money, we have our money together. There's different things that like nothing's not talked about, at least for us, because
I was just thinking like neither of us have ever bought anything, and the other person was like, why would you do that?
Yeah, and like. For us is like kind of the unspoken of rule is like we don't nitpick and we don't have control, and like some people need that, some people don't, but like that doesn't work for us. And like if there's something that we're abundantly doing or we're abundantly spending, like I'll say when I buy shoes, if I were to buy 15 pairs of Jordans every 2 weeks, right when I got paid, and it became a habit, I would probably anticipate a conversation at some point.
Right.
It's the same thing for you. Like, but we are never like hawk-eyeing it. Where
right.
It's
like a package shows up like, oh, what'd you buy now?
Yeah. Like, no.
No.
We don't do that.
No. And again, if we were upside down on trying to get to the goals that we were, it'd
if
be
we
a different
can't pay
story.
if we can't pay our bills, if
Right.
we can't, you know,
Do
if
the
we can't
things-
eat, and like
Right.
there's certain things, and like there's also things that we're actively trying to always improve financially, which I think everybody should always look at, is because there's so many things that you don't like realize until you realize it. Like we've both been paying for an Amazon Prime account.
Yeah, that we just, like the other night, she was like, how can I get on, like, how can one of us get on the other person's Amazon?
Yeah, and so like you obviously have the business and stuff like that, but I'm like, you just merge them, but we are both paying for an Amazon subscription every
Right.
year, so I'm like, that's silly.
Yeah.
So, but like, it's like sometimes good to like rethink of like, what are we actually spending our money on?
Right, because again, like my thought for when we were the truck, I was like, well, we've already done our budget before. We're lowering the payments, so it's like, why would we need to do it again? But it doesn't hurt. There's no foul in it.
But
So-
like we also, when we did it, and prime example is like, you never know what other things have changed from
Yeah.
the last time you did it.
Yep.
Is like our other car payment went up. We moved. We have a higher payment for our house. Our utilities have gone
Right.
up. Like our boat payment or our slip payment or
Right.
like stuff like that. And we're like, okay, we're actively trying to make more money, and how that reflects our income versus our expenses.
Right.
But like, yeah, but like, it didn't really move it.
Right.
So that's why. it
Dang it,
made
there's no like again, in my view, I'm just like, well, we're good, like whatever, like let's just do it. And again, to a degree, there's nothing wrong with that, but also on the complete opposite side, there's nothing wrong with taking a minute to talk about it. And again, like at times for me, it's kind of frustrating of like, yeah, like I get it, like we're going to be fine. But
Well,
again,
like-
there's nothing that like having that conversation or re-going through the finances, like none of that hurts. Like there's no pain in doing that.
Right. And it's also like we use that because obviously somebody wrote in, we're having that conversation. But it's also funny because sometimes it's not easy, and sometimes like you have to approach it gently. But like and we use the car and the truck right now as an example because it was
It just happened.
3 weeks ago.
Right.
But I said on that given day, I was like, I'm not going, but you should go and you should look at it. And so he gets lured in with the salesman and all of that and does the back and forth, which your girl, like I said, I'm straightforward. If I'm asking you something, I'm asking you something. Your job is to sell me. And I understand the whole game of car salesman and whatever, but I hear you. I also want to see what I just asked for. But so he plays the game and kind of goes along with it, which is, you have to at points. But I remember it got to the point where I was getting the phone call being like, what do you think? I think this. What do you think? I think this. And we were doing the back and forth. And then it came to probably like the fifth call. And I had talked to my sister, my financial stability of myself and creating a level of calmness. But I was like, it's time for you to come home. And it's like he's offering me this. This is what we wanted. This is what I want. Be like, great. It's time for you to come home. And I was like, let's have a conversation about it. And you can tell him if he's there tomorrow, we will be his first people through the door. And that's probably not what you wanted to hear.
No, and that was the thing, like, and it sounds cheesy, but it's like, hang on, I just spent all this time at the dealership, going through the back and forth, getting to a place where it is much better than when we were at, so it's just like, oh man, like, okay, like, it is what it is, like, let's go, like, sure, it's frustrating, but again, coming home and having that conversation, there was no negative to it.
No. But it also created a lot, like, more clarity. Because if it was the other way around where we couldn't do it and you did it anyways,
Right.
it would be hard, right? And so I always say for anybody is to, like, take a deep breath, give yourself a moment, especially when it comes to finances.
And a big purchase. Like, and again, I've always
Yeah.
been the guy that's just like, I want that, I'm going to have it. I want that, I'm going to have it. Like,
And, like, we just got out of a really poor situation. So it was one of those things where it's like anything to get out of it, but at the same time, it's like we're not going to get ourselves into the same
Right.
one. And so that was half of the conversation. It's just like we're improving it, but
right.
But no, I think that financial conversations are difficult, and the way that we make them work is obviously the way that makes it work in our relationship, so everybody's different. But I think that having it is the right step in the right direction. It's not easy.
Especially if you're trying to get somewhere together.
Correct.
Like if we already, I don't even know what an example would be, but like, again, we want to own a home that we want. Not just like, okay, this is the stepping stone. Like we want to find like our home, whether we build it or we buy it. And if we're not being a team when it comes to what is going to fund this house, how are we expected to actually get there? There's no, it ain't just going to happen. Mm-mm. Like, sure, again, could I have lived by that mentality of like, I'm going to get a house and I'm going to get the one I want and make it work? Sure, but I've lived that. That's been stressful as hell. I remember being young in my 20s being like, okay, it's a Friday. I don't get paid until Monday. I've got $70 in my account. Well, I got 50 to go out with the boys on Saturday and I'll be fine Sunday to Monday. Like, we don't want to, and like that was stressful to me. I remember staying up at night being like, shoot, like I don't really have any money, but I'm going to go spend 50 out of my 75 because I want to do it and I'll figure it out by Monday gets there. Like we don't want to live that.
Yeah. But, and so have the conversations, have the hard conversations. We say it all the time in our relationship is be comfortable with the uncomfortable. Whether
it's relationships, friendships, work, like I remember having to have tough conversations at work. Like you're not going to get through things without unfortunate tough conversations that are going to make you feel uncomfortable, that aren't going to be fun, that may not give you the outcome that you want, but at least there's clarity and you know what direction to go.
Yeah.
And that is what makes a team.
Season 2, Episode 2, Pair.
On the 12th.
12th.
But we hope you all enjoyed episode 2 of the BK Lounge podcast. It will be posted on Apple Music, Spotify, and YouTube in the hours to come. So if you didn't make it all or you want to re-listen to it back, please make sure you're following us and subscribing us on YouTube. You like the podcast, review the podcast on both Spotify, Apple, whatever you got. We appreciate you more than you know. We're very happy to be back, and we will see you in 2 weeks for the next episode of the BK Lounge Pod. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, both the podcast Instagram, Kenny's personal Instagram, my personal Instagram. Join the Discord. We want write-ins. We really, really want y'all to get involved. So if you want to write to us on social media of a situation or a question or a topic, please let us know. We love, 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 love having write-ins. Mm-hmm. So make sure you check us out at thebkloungepod.com, and we will catch you in 2 weeks. Any last words, Kenneth?
Love ya. Bye.
Y'all be good now.
This has been the BK Lounge Podcast with Bert and Kenny. We hope you enjoyed your time diving deep in on wild topics, listening to crazy stories, and hanging out with us. We'll see you next week live on Twitch. Be sure to check out our website for all our social links at www.thebkloungepod.com. Y'all be good now, and we'll see you next time.